What if the weight of anxiety could be lifted not through fleeting distractions or hollow promises, but through a timeless wisdom that transforms the very way you perceive life's uncertainties? Welcome to Stoic Reflections, where we delve into the profound teachings of Stoicism to uncover tools that empower you to face the chaos of existence with clarity, resilience, and unshakable calm. In this exploration, we'll journey through the ancient philosophy that has guided warriors, leaders, and everyday souls through centuries of trials, a philosophy not of avoidance, but of mastery over the self amidst life's storms. This is not about erasing anxiety, for it is a thread woven into the human experience. Instead, it's about reframing it as a signal, a call to realign your mind with what truly matters. Drawing from the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, we'll uncover practical, actionable strategies to shift your focus from fear to purpose, from turmoil to tranquility. Whether you're standing in the eye of a personal crisis or simply navigating the daily grind, these insights offer a path to a life not ruled by restless thoughts, but guided by strength and serenity. We invite you to join us, share your thoughts in the comments, suggest topics that stir your curiosity, and let's grow together as a community dedicated to living with intention. Let's begin this journey now, step by step toward a calmer, more centered existence. Anxiety arrives uninvited, an unwelcome guest that lingers too long, cluttering the corridors of your mind and dimming the light of your peace. It presses against your chest in quiet moments, stirs restless thoughts that fracture your sleep, and whispers that something, somewhere, is slipping beyond your grasp. Yet beneath its persistent hum lies a question that shifts the ground beneath it. What if this relentless intruder could be more than a burden? What if, instead of merely enduring it, you could transform your relationship with anxiety, entirely replacing its ceaseless chatter with a steady, unshakable calm? This is not a promise of quick fixes or empty platitudes. It's an invitation to navigate life with a mindset forged in the fires of centuries, shaped by some of history's most resilient thinkers. These are not abstract theories, but tools you can carry in your hands, practical, tested, and timeless. Anxiety, at its root, feeds on fear, fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or loss. It thrives on the stories we spin, the what-ifs that grow louder with each breath. But here lies a truth that changes everything. Most of those fears dwell in realms we cannot touch, and much of our suffering flows not from events themselves, but from our desperate cling to control them. Pause for a moment. Consider this: control is a mirage. Life does not bend to our scripts, and the effort to wrestle it into submission exhausts us. What if, instead of battling the unknown, you learned to dance with it? What if you could step back from the chaos, sift through its noise, and focus only on what lies within your power? This is where freedom takes root, not in dictating the uncontrollable, but in mastering your response to it. You possess more strength than you might realize, though it often lies buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, and habits that no longer serve you. Uncovering it doesn't demand grand gestures, but small, deliberate choices: how you frame your thoughts, the actions you take, the principles you embrace. These choices, subtle as they seem, lay the groundwork for a life unyoked from anxiety's grip. The key is a shift in focus. Anxiety craves your attention, feeding on your energy like a flame devouring dry wood. But what happens when you starve it? When you redirect that vitality towards something meaningful, something aligned with your deepest values? The flame weakens, and in its place blooms a quiet clarity, a calm that grows with each step you take. This is not about perfection, nor about banishing every trace of worry. Those threads of unease are part of being human. They will ripple through you from time to time. The difference lies in their power or lack thereof. They become waves that pass, not storms that define you. This wisdom is not new. It echoes through the ages, carried by warriors who faced death, leaders who bore the weight of nations, and ordinary souls who met extraordinary trials. It promises not a life without hardship, but a way to meet hardship with dignity, courage, and peace. Isn't that what we seek? Not an escape from difficulty, but a means to endure it without losing ourselves. Every step of this path empowers you to discern what matters from what doesn't, to quiet the endless loops of worry, to greet each dawn with purpose rather than dread. These tools are both profound and practical, ready for use, whether you're in the thick of a storm or simply wading through the everyday. Anxiety narrows your vision, shrinking the world into a tight, threatening space. But when you step back, the horizon widens. You see that much of what consumes you doesn't deserve your energy. You reclaim your time, your thoughts, your life. Imagine a morning where you rise not with dread, but with confidence, a quiet strength that carries you forward. Picture an evening where your mind rests, unburdened by what you didn't do or what might come. These are not distant dreams but possibilities within reach, born from learning to live with clarity, act with purpose, and trust in your capacity to face whatever lies ahead. This strength doesn't demand special talents or decades of study. It begins wherever you stand, however heavy your anxiety feels. What matters is your willingness to take that first step, to believe that a calmer life is possible. You've carried this weight long enough. It's time to set it down, not by ignoring it, but by facing it with wisdom and resolve. Each day offers a chance to practice, to grow, to reclaim what anxiety has tried to steal. With every small victory, that burden lifts, replaced by a lightness you may have forgotten could exist. So where do we go from here? Forward, step by step, lesson by lesson, toward a life not ruled by anxiety, but guided by clarity, purpose, and peace. Anxiety often feels like a knot in the fabric of your being, tugging at your thoughts and unraveling your calm. Yet beneath its grip lies an opportunity, a call to understand, to realign, to reframe. What if anxiety isn't just a curse, but a signal, a guide pointing you toward a deeper way of living? This isn't a modern affliction born of screens and speed. Long before the clamor of notifications and the race to succeed, humans wrestled with the same unease. The ancient Stoics saw it clearly, recognizing that anxiety springs not from life's events, but from how we interpret them. In this insight lies the seed of freedom. Through their lens, anxiety shifts from a shadow to a mirror, reflecting where we've surrendered our power. They taught that peace begins with understanding what we can control, our thoughts, choices, and actions, and releasing what we cannot, the opinions of others, the outcomes of our efforts, the caprices of fate. Epictetus, a Stoic sage, held that the mind is our greatest treasure. External events may batter us, but we command how we think about them. When adversity strikes, the Stoics ask, is this within my control? If not, they let it go, turning their gaze to what they could shape. This shift doesn't just ease anxiety, it transforms it. Anxiety often swells from the illusion that we can master everything. The Stoics shattered this myth, embracing life's unpredictability. Resisting it only deepens our pain. Accepting it frees us to focus on what matters. You can't control if someone approves of you, but you can control how you treat them. You can't prevent every stumble, but you can prepare and learn. By anchoring yourself in the actionable, you loosen anxiety's hold and reclaim your agency. The Stoics also saw fear as a root of anxiety, fear tied to what we cherish or dread losing. True security, they argued, lies not in clinging to the external, but in cultivating inner stability. They practiced premeditatio, envisioning challenges to build resilience, stripping adversity of its shock. Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher king, wrote of maintaining calm amid chaos, focusing on his values rather than life's flux. Anxiety, he saw, often flows from a rift between our principles and actions. When we chase hollow goals or betray our truths, unease signals the discord. Realigning with what we hold dear quiets that noise. External events, the Stoics taught, are neutral, our judgments give them weight. A delay isn't good or bad, it simply is. By reframing it as such, we choose thoughtful response over rash reaction. Challenges, then, become teachers, not threats. Anxiety invites us to question our assumptions and adjust our course. We always have a choice in how we meet, a choice that liberates us from victimhood. Stoicism also values connection. Sharing struggles and learning from others eases our burden, reminding us we're not alone. Time, too, is fleeting, a Stoic truth that cuts through worry. The present is where we act, where we live. By rooting ourselves here, we shed the clutter of past and future, finding peace in the now. This path doesn't erase anxiety but equips us to meet it with wisdom. It's a journey of small victories, each a step toward a life not just endured, but deeply lived. Much of anxiety's sting comes from battles we can't win. The Stoics offered a simpler truth. Peace lies in drawing a line between what's yours to shape and what isn't. This dichotomy of control splits life into two realms: your inner world, thoughts, actions, attitudes, and the outer chaos beyond your reach. Anxiety festers when these blur, when you exhaust yourself chasing what can't be caught. Ask yourself, what can I truly shape right now? The answer humbles, revealing how little bends to our will. Yet it liberates. You're not tasked with fixing the universe. Your power lies in your response. Worrying about a project's outcome drains you, giving your best and letting go frees you. In relationships, you can't force others' views, but you can act with kindness and let their choices unfold. This shift births peace, not from dodging life's blows, but from meeting them with integrity. Setbacks sting less when you've done your part. Your worth isn't tethered to what you can't sway. Focus where your energy counts, your preparation, your mindset. Patience and trust grow here. Patience with life's rhythm, trust in its unfolding. Decisions clarify too. Anxiety over choices fades when you weigh what's yours to control and release the rest. Criticism loses its bite when you see it as noise, not truth. Time aligns as well. Worry pulls elsewhere, but the present is your domain. This isn't detachment from life, but engagement with what you can touch. Sometimes anxiety announces itself before words form: racing heart, tight breath, coiled muscles. Yet within this storm lies a tool as old as life, your breath. The Stoics saw it as an anchor, a bridge between body and mind. Mastering it calms the chaos. Anxiety triggers a primal dance, stress floods in, breath shortens, tension feeds worry. But breath is yours to command. A slow exhale signals safety, soothing the nerves, balancing the body. It's always there, the quiet power in your grasp. Epictetus spoke of inner calm amid outer tumult. Shallow breathing fans tension, deep, deliberate breath sees it, sharpening your mind. Practice it daily, and resilience grows. Breath roots you in the now, cutting through worry's pull. It's a reclaiming of agency when all feels lost. You can still breathe. Techniques like box breathing or extended exhales steady you, weaving calm into movement or stillness. Consistency turns it into a reflex, a companion in strife. It's self-compassion to a gift of stillness amid the fray. Fear often follows, a storm to breath's steady hand. The Stoics didn't flee it but faced it, seeing it as a guide. Fear signals what matters, urging us to rise. It's not the foe we dread but a call to question. What do I fear? Why? What's the worst? Naming it shrinks its shadow. Premdit etiomolo rum prepares you, stripping fear's surprise. Action breaks its spell, small steps forward defy its grip. Fear reflects what we value, pointing us to care. It's fleeting, to knowing it passes eases its weight. Rational fears warn, irrational ones mislead. Sorting them channels your energy. Fear mirrors beliefs, failures, sting ties to worth. The Stoics saw courage as acting through fear, each step a victory. It invites reflection. Are my fears mine or borrowed? Gratitude reframes it, grounding you in what's real. Fear connects us to a shared thread, Embracing it fosters humility, a strength that guides us through. Daily reflection turns fear into wisdom. Marcus Aurelius probed his day, seeking clarity, not blame. What did I do well? Where can I grow? Did I align with my truth? This pause reveals patterns, disarms worry, and realigns you. Gratitude balances it, noting what shines amid the dark. Consistency makes it a habit, a reset for the soul. Journaling deepens it, mapping your growth. It's a release, to letting go of what weighs you down, preparing you for tomorrow with purpose. Resilience rises from this soil. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca built it not as a gift, but a craft. Events are neutral, your lens shapes them. Obstacles forge character, what blocks the way becomes the path. Seneca's voluntary discomfort, skipping meals, braving cold, taught that hardship is bearable. Acceptance aligns you with life's flow, not against it. Inner stability, not outer winds, holds you steady. Emotions pass like clouds, ride them, don't fight them. Giving, not gaining, anchors you. Perspective widens your view, your struggles are small in the cosmos. Gratitude builds strength, flexibility bends with change, reason tames fear. Relationships test and temper you, patience here grows resilience elsewhere. Discipline roots you in purpose, failure teaches, solitude restores. Growth is the aim, each trial a chance to rise. Rumination, though, gnaws at this strength. Endless loops of doubt and regret trap you. The Stoics got through, events don't torment us, our judgments do. Focus on now, what can I do? Mindful mains pulls you back, breath, senses, tasks. Intentional thought guides you, journaling sorts the tangle. Simplicity clears the clutter, one step at a time. Reframe setbacks as lessons, move your body to shift your mind. Boundaries guard your peace, gratitude lifts it. Imperfection is human, chase purpose, not flawlessness. Connection breaks the cycle, share, listen, let go. Visualization lifts you further. Mentally rehearse success or struggle, and fear dims. Premeditatio rum steals you, picturing triumph builds confidence. Align it with values, not whims. Perspective shrinks the stakes, gratitude fuels the vision. Daily practice makes it real, thought becomes action. Gratitude shifts all this to abundance. Marcus Aurelius thanked life for its lessons, even the hard ones. It clarifies what matters, love, growth now. Daily thanks root you, countering fear's scarcity. It's active, not passive, a lens to see plenty amid want. Service extends this outward. Helping others cuts self-focus, grounding you in purpose. It reframes your limits as gifts, connects you to others, empowers you. Perspective grows, your woes shrink beside another's. Humility follows, ego fades. Each kindness lifts you, a cycle of calm. Impermanence crowns this wisdom. Nothing lasts, clinging breeds pain, acceptance frees you. Marcus Aurelius saw change as nature's pulse, endings birth beginnings. Value what's here, let go of control. Failure's sting fades, effort matters, not permanence. Time sharpens focus, possessions lose their grip. Adaptability flows from this bend, don't break. Humility deepens, presence beckons. The now is all, mindfulness unanchors you. Senses, tasks, acceptance each roots you here. Breath steadies, gratitude fills, patience holds. Rituals sustain this. Morning reflection sets intent, evening review refines it. Silence clears noise, movement lifts fog. Detach from wants, breathe with purpose, serve with heart. Recalibrate midday, let go nightly. Self-compassion quiets the critic, imperfection is human. Marcus Aurelius, all flaws is shared, not shamed. Question harsh thoughts, forgive your stumbles. Gratitude balances, humility steadies. Peasant focus frees you, service turns you outward. Anxiety shrinks as you give, purpose grows as you connect. Enemies test this peace. Master your response. Anger feeds their power. Understand their why. Silence starves their noise. Integrity shields you. Kindness disarms them. Patience waits them out. Growth rises above. Forgiveness frees you. Detachment keeps you steady. Mental strength binds it all. Self-awareness names your triggers. Discomfort trains your grit. Discipline aligns you. Presence holds you. Gratitude lifts. Reflection sharpens. Relationships temper you. Habits forge you. Regrets fade with this. Live true. Boundaries guard you. Savor now, not things. Act, don't delay. Cherished eyes. Grow through trials. Forgive the past. Care for yourself. Thank what's here. Letting go seals it. Accept life's flow. Trust your strength. Impermanence frees. Outcomes loosen. Gratitude fills. Flexibility bends. Forgiveness heals. Challenges teach. Simplicity clears. Peace reigns. Negativity falls away. Calm meets it. Boundaries hold it. Detach from noise. Limit its reach. Reflect, thank, simplify. Mindfulness unsteadies. Self-doubt bows next. See it through. Tact, don't fret. Reflect, don't judge. Failure teaches. Gratitude builds. Compassion heals. Purpose drives. Small wins rise. Detach from talk. Confidence grows. Rituals cradle this. Begin with thought. End with review. Silence. Move. Detach. Breathe. Serve. Pause. Let go. Compassion lifts. Criticism quiets. Service shines. Impermanence frees. Presence holds. This is your path, not to erase life's weight, but to carry it with grace. Through this journey with Stoic reflections, we've woven a tapestry of Stoic wisdom, threads of control, resilience, gratitude, and presence, stitching together a life not shackled by anxiety, but enriched by purpose and peace. These aren't mere ideas, but a call to action, to meet each day with clarity, to transform fear into strength, to live fully in the now. This path doesn't promise a world without storms, but it equips you with a fortress within, unshakable, steady, yours. What resonates with you? Share it in the comments. Your insight might light another's way. If this journey stirred something in you, subscribe and join us as we delve deeper into Stoicism's timeless truths. Hit the bell. Let's grow together, step by step, toward lives of meaning and calm. Next, hear from Emma and James, whose reflections on this path will follow. Stay tuned for their voices. This is your journey, and it's just begun. Let's keep moving forward, wiser and stronger, one breath at a time.
We're diving into Stoicism today.
Okay.
And how it can help us approach anxiety differently.
Sounds good.
You're probably already familiar with the basics of Stoicism.
Right.
But we're going beyond just enduring anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at how we can actually transform our relationship with it.
Okay.
Think of it like this. We all know anxiety is a part of life.
Yeah.
But instead of just accepting it as an unwelcome guest,
Right.
what if we could learn to understand its language and even use its messages to our advantage?
Interesting.
That's precisely what the Stoic, particularly figures like Marcus Aurelius,
right.
Epictetus,
Yes.
and Seneca, were trying to teach.
So they saw anxiety
Yes.
not just as a negative emotion, but as a signal,
Okay.
pointing to areas where we might be clinging to control
Okay.
or harboring unrealistic expectations.
So instead of dreading anxiety,
Yeah.
we should be listening to it.
We should be understanding it.
What kinds of things might anxiety be trying to tell us?
Well, let's take a common example.
Okay.
Anxiety around a work project.
Mm-hmm.
From a Stoic perspective,
Okay.
this anxiety could be a sign that you're overly focused on the outcome.
Okay.
Maybe landing a promotion or receiving praise.
Right.
That focus can lead to anxiety
Yeah.
because those things are largely outside of your control.
Makes sense.
Instead,
Yeah.
the Stoics would encourage you to shift your attention to the process,
Okay.
to the things you can actually influence,
Okay.
like your effort, your preparation,
Yeah.
and your commitment to doing your best work.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like that classic Stoic idea of the dichotomy of control, right?
Right.
Separating what we can control from what we can't.
It's a fundamental principle.
But how do we actually apply that in the real world?
Well,
It's easy to say focus on what you can control.
Sure.
But when you're feeling that knot of anxiety in your stomach,
Right.
it's not always easy to put into practice.
It definitely takes practice.
Okay.
And that's where specific Stoic techniques come in.
Okay.
One of the most powerful is actually quite simple.
Okay.
Focusing on your breath.
The breath.
Yes, the Stoics understood the mind-body connection long before modern science confirmed it.
Okay.
They knew that by consciously slowing down
Right.
and deepening your breath, you can directly impact your nervous system,
Interesting.
calming your heart rate
Yeah.
and easing that physical tension
Okay.
that often accompanies anxiety.
So it's not just about calming our minds, it's about calming our bodies too.
It's about the interconnectedness of mind and body.
I've definitely noticed that connection when I'm anxious. My breathing gets all shallow and rapid.
That's a common physiological response.
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
Did the Stoics actually have specific breathing exercises they used?
They did.
Or was it more about just generally paying attention to your breath?
They had a few,
Oh, really?
and they're surprisingly relevant today.
Okay.
One technique you might find helpful
Okay.
is called box breathing.
Box breathing.
Yes, it's a simple pattern of inhaling for a count of 4,
Okay.
holding for 4,
Got it.
exhaling for 4,
Okay.
and holding again for 4.
So 4 counts for each.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like creating a square with your breath.
Okay.
This kind of controlled breathing
Right.
can be incredibly effective in interrupting those anxious thought patterns
Yeah.
and bringing you back to a sense of calm.
Box breathing. I'm going to have to try that.
I recommend it.
I love that it's something you can do anywhere,
Exactly.
anytime.
It's a portable tool.
So we've talked about shifting our focus from what we can't control to what we can.
Right.
And we've talked about the power of breath.
Uh-huh.
What other tools did the Stoics use to manage anxiety?
They had a very interesting approach to fear,
Oh, okay.
which, as you know, is often at the root of anxiety.
Right.
They didn't believe in trying to avoid or suppress fear,
Okay.
but in understanding it,
Oh.
even confronting it head on.
That seems counterintuitive.
I can see why you'd say that.
Wouldn't facing our fears just make our anxiety worse?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum.
Premeditatio malorum.
Yes, which translates to premeditation of evils.
Premeditation of evils.
It involved mentally rehearsing worst-case scenarios.
So thinking about the worst possible thing that could happen.
Yes, by imagining potential challenges and setbacks.
Yeah, okay.
They believed you could actually diminish their power
Mm-hmm.
and lessen their impact if they did occur.
It's almost like taking the sting out of fear.
Yeah.
By facing it directly.
You could say that.
I can see how that could be helpful,
Yeah.
especially with anticipated anxieties like public speaking or
Yeah.
big presentations.
It could be a very effective tool.
Exactly.
It's about mentally preparing yourself for those situations.
Right.
So you're not caught off guard.
Yeah.
But premeditatio malorum goes beyond just specific events.
Okay.
It's also about accepting the larger reality,
Mm-hmm.
that life inevitably involves setbacks and challenges.
Right.
By acknowledging this truth,
Mm-hmm.
you can cultivate a sense of resilience
Okay.
and a more balanced perspective.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a powerful practice.
So it's about accepting that we can't control everything,
Right.
but we can control how we prepare for and respond to whatever life throws our way.
That's the essence of it.
It's that dichotomy of control, again,
Yes.
just applied in a different way.
It's a versatile principle.
I'm curious, though, how do we prevent this premeditation of evils from becoming overly negative
Yeah, that's a good question.
and actually fueling our anxiety?
It's about balance.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of how the Stoics viewed negative emotions.
So,
They didn't believe in ignoring or suppressing them,
okay.
but rather in understanding their nature and purpose.
Okay.
They saw emotions like fear and anxiety
Yeah.
as valuable signals, providing information about our values, beliefs, and attachments.
So it's about listening to the message behind the emotion
Yes,
rather than just getting swept away by the feeling itself.
exactly.
By acknowledging and examining our fears and anxieties,
Precisely.
we can gain valuable self-knowledge
Uh-huh.
and identify areas where we might need to adjust our thinking or behavior.
That's a key insight.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's about using those emotions as guides.
So instead of seeing anxiety as an enemy,
Right.
we can view it as a teacher,
Exactly.
guiding us towards greater self-awareness and understanding.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
This is already giving me a whole new perspective on anxiety.
It's great to hear.
But I have to admit,
Yeah,
sometimes those anxious feelings can feel so overwhelming
of course.
that it's hard to even know where to start.
I understand.
Did the Stoics have any advice for navigating those moments
They did.
when anxiety feels all-consuming?
They had a lot to say about that.
Okay.
One of their most powerful tools was something they called mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
which is really about bringing your full attention
Okay.
to the present moment.
Okay.
They understood that much of our suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly our anxiety,
Right.
comes from dwelling on the past or
Yeah.
worrying about the future.
I can definitely relate to that.
It's a common human tendency.
It's so easy to get caught in those mental time loops.
Those loops can be very powerful.
But how do we actually practice mindfulness?
Oh,
It sounds great in theory,
sir?
but when your mind is racing,
Right.
it can be hard to just suddenly be present.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
It takes practice.
Okay.
One of the simplest techniques the Stoics used
Yeah.
was to simply become aware of your breath.
So just notice your breath.
Yes, notice the sensation of each inhale and exhale.
Okay.
Don't try to change it, just observe it.
Observe.
Yes, this can help anchor you in the present moment
Mm-hmm.
and create a sense of calm amidst the mental chatter.
So it's about finding that stillness within,
Exactly.
even when everything around you feels chaotic.
It's about accessing that inner peace.
And the more you practice,
Yes.
the easier it becomes to access that inner stillness,
Precisely.
even in challenging situations.
It becomes a skill you can develop.
The Stoics believed that by cultivating this ability to be present,
Yes.
you could free yourself from the tyranny of past regrets and future anxieties.
It's about breaking free from those mental chains.
It's like hitting the pause button on all that mental noise
Yeah.
and just allowing yourself to be.
Exactly.
This is giving me so much to think about already.
I'm glad to hear that.
And we've just scratched the surface.
We've only just begun.
I'm really looking forward to diving deeper
Me too.
into these Stoic tools for managing anxiety.
There's much more to explore. Before we move on,
Okay.
I want to touch upon another Stoic practice
All right.
that can be incredibly helpful
Yeah.
in managing anxiety.
Okay.
Cultivating gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude.
I can see how focusing on what we're grateful for
Mm-hmm.
could help shift our perspective
Right.
to a more positive outlook.
Exactly.
But I'm curious about how the Stoics specifically viewed gratitude.
Okay.
Was it just about feeling thankful for good things, or was there something more to it?
For the Stoics,
Yeah.
gratitude wasn't just about acknowledging the good things in life.
Okay.
It was a much deeper practice,
Okay.
rooted in understanding the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay.
They believed that by recognizing and appreciating
Yeah.
even the seemingly small or mundane aspects of life, you could cultivate a sense of contentment and peace,
Okay.
even amidst challenges.
So it's about appreciating the present moment,
Yes.
even when things aren't perfect.
It's about finding gratitude
Yeah.
in all circumstances.
Did they have specific techniques for cultivating gratitude?
They did.
Okay, like
One
what?
practice involved regularly taking time
Okay.
to reflect on the things you have in your life.
Even basic things like having a roof over your head,
Right.
food to eat,
Yeah.
or access to clean water.
Things we take for granted.
Exactly. It's easy to take these things for granted,
Yeah.
but consciously acknowledging them
Yeah.
can be a powerful way to shift your perspective.
It's like reminding yourself of all the good that already exists in your life,
Exactly.
even when things feel difficult.
It's about shifting your focus
Okay.
to what you have.
I'm also curious about how the Stoics applied gratitude to challenging situations.
Okay.
Was it about finding the silver lining in every bad situation?
It wasn't necessarily about finding a silver lining
Okay.
in every negative event.
All right.
It was more about acknowledging that
Yeah.
even difficult experiences
Uh,
can offer opportunities for growth and learning.
okay.
Marcus Aurelius, for example,
Right.
wrote about being grateful for the challenges he faced
Uh-huh.
as emperor
Okay.
because they allowed him to develop virtues
Okay.
like patience, courage, and resilience.
So instead of just focusing on the negative aspects of a situation,
Yeah,
you're looking for the potential for growth and self-improvement.
exactly.
So in a way, gratitude becomes a tool
Yes,
for transforming adversity into something positive.
you could say that.
And it's not about denying the difficult emotions
Right.
that naturally arise when you face challenges.
It's about acknowledging those feelings,
Okay.
while also choosing to focus on the potential for growth and learning.
So it's a more nuanced approach than just trying to be positive all the time.
Exactly.
It's about accepting the full spectrum of human experience,
Yes.
both the good and the bad, and finding ways to learn and grow from it all.
That's the Stoic approach.
And this leads us to another important Stoic principle,
Okay.
living in alignment with your values.
Ah, yes. Values.
They believe that one of the keys to a fulfilling life,
Right.
and one that is less susceptible to anxiety, is to live in accordance with your core values.
Living authentically.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When you're living a life that feels true to yourself,
Right.
you're less likely to be swayed by external pressures or anxieties.
You're more grounded.
But figuring out what your values are in the first place
Yeah.
can feel like a daunting task.
It can be a challenge.
Like, how do we even start?
The Stoics believed that self-reflection is key.
Self-reflection.
Yes, they encouraged individuals
Okay.
to regularly examine their thoughts,
Okay.
actions, and motivations.
So look inward.
Ask yourself questions like,
Okay.
what am I passionate about?
Yeah.
What do I stand for?
Okay.
What kind of person do I want to be?
So it's about taking the time to really understand yourself,
Yes.
your motivations,
Right.
and what truly matters to you.
It's about self-discovery.
And it's an ongoing process.
It is.
Our values may evolve over time.
Of course.
And that's okay.
Change is natural.
The important thing is to be in constant dialogue with yourself,
Right.
to keep reflecting on what truly matters to you.
Self-awareness is key.
Once you have a clearer sense of your values,
Yeah.
you can start making choices that align with them.
Exactly.
Whether it's in your career,
Mhm.
your relationships,
Yes.
or your daily habits.
It's about living with intention.
I imagine that can make a big difference in how you experience anxiety.
It can.
If your actions are in harmony with your values,
Right.
you're less likely to feel that nagging sense of unease or self-doubt.
You're more aligned.
But what about situations where you're already feeling stuck? Like in a job that just doesn't align with your values?
It happens.
What do we do then?
The Stoics would say that even in those situations,
Yeah.
you have a choice.
Okay.
You can choose to stay
Right.
and try to make changes from within,
Right.
or you can choose to leave and seek a path that better aligns with your values.
That can be a scary decision,
It can be.
especially if it involves financial risk or uncertainty.
There are always risks.
Yeah.
But the Stoics believed that true freedom comes from living in alignment with your authentic self.
Okay.
Sometimes that requires taking bold action,
Right.
even if it feels uncomfortable or risky in the short term.
So it's about weighing the potential discomfort of making a change
Yes.
against the long-term cost of staying stuck
Exactly.
in a situation that doesn't feel right.
It's a cost-benefit analysis.
And it's about remembering that you have the power to choose.
Yes.
You're not a passive victim of your circumstances.
You have agency.
This is reminding me of the Stoic emphasis on taking responsibility for your own thoughts,
Yes.
feeling,
Yeah.
and actions.
It's about owning your experience.
But what about those times when anxiety feels completely overwhelming?
Okay.
Like a tidal wave that just washes over you?
I understand.
What did the Stoics have to say about those moments?
They had a lot to say about that.
Okay.
One of their most powerful tools
Yeah.
was mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
which they called pasoche.
Persuche.
It's about bringing your full attention to the present moment
Okay.
without judgment.
We talked about mindfulness earlier in terms of focusing on the breath.
Yes.
But is there more to it than that?
It's a broad practice.
Okay.
It's about noticing your thoughts and feelings
Yeah.
without getting caught up in them.
Okay.
It's about observing your experience
Right.
with a sense of curiosity and acceptance
Okay.
rather than resistance or judgment.
So it's about creating a space between yourself
Yes.
and your thoughts and emotions.
You could say that.
Not trying to fight them or push them away,
Right.
but just acknowledging them and letting them be.
Exactly.
And often just the act of observing your anxiety without judgment
Yes,
can help to lessen its intensity
it can.
because you're not adding fuel to the fire by resisting it.
Exactly.
And mindfulness is a practice you can apply to any aspect of your experience.
It is.
You can bring your attention to your breath,
Mm-hmm.
your body,
Yes.
the sounds around you,
Mm-hmm.
or even your thoughts and emotions themselves.
It's about being present.
So even in the midst of a panic attack,
Yes.
you can use mindfulness to ground yourself in the present moment.
Precisely.
And that can be incredibly empowering
It can.
because it reminds you that you have a choice.
Right.
in how you respond to your anxiety.
You always have a choice.
You don't have to be swept away by it.
You can choose to observe it,
Okay.
acknowledge it, and let it pass.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
It's not about erasing anxiety completely,
Right.
but about changing your relationship with it.
That's the key.
And mindfulness is something you can practice anytime, anywhere.
Absolutely.
The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access that state of mindful awareness,
It becomes a skill.
even in challenging situations.
You build resilience.
Mindfulness sounds like a very valuable tool.
It is.
But are there any other Stoic practices
Mhm.
that can be helpful when those intense waves of anxiety hit?
Well, there's visualization.
Visualization.
Yes.
Visualization.
Yes,
right.
that's another powerful technique the Stoics used,
Okay.
both to manage anxiety
Okay.
and to prepare themselves for challenging situations.
Is this like picturing yourself in a calm and peaceful place?
That's one way to use it,
Okay.
but the Stoics also used visualization
Yeah.
more strategically.
Okay.
For example,
Okay.
if you were feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation,
Yeah.
you could mentally rehearse the presentation,
Mm-hmm.
imagining yourself delivering it with confidence and clarity.
So it's about creating a positive mental script for yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And by repeatedly visualizing that positive outcome,
Right.
you can actually train your mind
Mm-hmm.
to be more resilient and less reactive
Okay.
when you face that situation in real life.
It's like giving your brain a preview of success.
Yes.
So it's less likely to be thrown off by unexpected challenges.
That's a great way to put it.
And visualization can be used for all sorts of situations.
It can.
Not just public speaking. You can use it to mentally prepare for difficult conversations,
Mm-hmm.
to imagine yourself coping effectively with stressful events,
Yeah.
or even just to cultivate a sense of calm and peace in your daily life.
It's a versatile tool.
So visualization is about using the power of your imagination
Right.
to create a more positive and resilient mindset.
Exactly.
It sounds like a great way to proactively manage anxiety.
It is.
But what about when those anxious feelings are already present? Are there any Stoic techniques for dealing with that overwhelm in the moment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And one that's particularly relevant to our modern lives
Okay.
is the practice of simplifying.
Simplifying.
Yes.
What does that have to do with anxiety?
Yeah.
I feel like my life is already too complicated.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But the Stoics recognized that much of our anxiety stems from feeling overwhelmed and overcommitted.
Okay.
We have too much to do,
Right.
too much to worry about,
Yeah.
and a constant barrage of information
Yeah.
coming at us from all directions.
That definitely resonates with the modern experience.
It does.
It feels like we're constantly bombarded with stimulation.
We are.
But how do we actually simplify our lives?
Well,
Where do we even begin?
it can feel overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be a huge overhaul.
Okay.
Start with small, manageable steps.
Okay.
It could involve decluttering your physical space,
All right.
reducing your commitments,
Okay.
setting boundaries around your time and energy,
Mm-hmm.
or even just being more mindful of the information you consume.
So it's about creating more breathing room in our lives,
Exactly.
both physically and mentally.
It's about creating space.
And by simplifying,
Yeah.
you can reduce the amount of stimuli that's
Yeah.
constantly bombarding you,
It's about reducing the noise.
which can have a significant impact on your overall stress and anxiety levels.
It can be very helpful.
It's like hitting the reset button
Yeah.
and creating a sense of calm amidst the chaos.
Finding that inner peace.
That's a really appealing idea,
It is.
especially in today's world.
I agree.
So we've talked about gratitude, living in alignment with your values,
Uh-huh.
mindfulness,
Right.
visualization, and simplifying.
It's a powerful toolkit.
It's clear that the Stoics had a lot of wisdom to offer
They did.
about navigating anxiety.
They were masters of the mind.
But what other tools or principles did they emphasize?
Well, they had some fascinating insights
Oh.
into the nature of time.
Time.
Yes, and how our perception of time
Okay.
can actually fuel our anxiety.
Time. How does time relate to anxiety?
Think about it.
So.
How often do you find yourself dwelling on the past
Oh, all the time.
or worrying about the future?
Yeah, all the time.
It's like my mind is constantly replaying past mistakes
Yes.
or trying to predict what's going to happen next.
That's precisely what the Stoics observed.
They understood the human mind.
They recognized that much of our anxiety stems from getting caught in those mental time loops.
Right, either ruminating on past regrets or fretting about things that haven't even happened yet.
So their message was to focus on the now.
Exactly.
Okay.
They believed that the only moment we truly have control over is the present moment.
The present moment.
The past is gone.
Right.
And the future is uncertain.
So be here now.
That's the key.
That reminds me of the mindfulness practices we discussed earlier.
It's all connected.
Is it all connected?
Absolutely. Mindfulness is fundamentally
Okay.
about being fully present in the here and now.
Right.
It's about savoring the current moment rather than letting your mind get hijacked by worries and distractions.
But how do we actually do that?
It takes practice.
How do we stop our minds from racing ahead to the future
Yeah.
or dwelling on the past?
It's not easy.
It's easier said than done, right?
It does take practice.
Yeah.
But the Stoics had some helpful techniques.
Okay.
One is to simply notice when your mind is wandering and gently guide it back to the present moment.
Back to now.
You can do this by focusing on your breath, your senses, or the task at hand.
So it's about catching yourself when your mind drifts away.
Yes.
And then redirecting your attention
Exactly.
to what's happening right now.
Being present.
And another technique is to engage in activities that naturally draw you into the present moment.
That's a great way to do it.
This could be anything from spending time in nature to listening to music to engaging in a creative pursuit.
It's about finding what works for you.
So it's about finding those things that absorb your attention and help you to forget about your worries for a while.
Losing yourself in the moment.
And by spending more time in the present moment, you can reduce the amount of time you spend ruminating on the past or fretting about the future,
Right.
which can significantly decrease your overall anxiety levels.
It's a powerful practice.
It's like hitting the pause button on your mental chatter.
Quieting the mind.
And just allowing yourself to be fully present in the moment.
That's where peace is found.
It is.
And that's where true peace and contentment reside.
Okay.
Not in the past.
Right.
Not in the future.
Yeah.
But right here, right now.
This is all giving me a lot to think about.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm realizing how much my mind gets caught up
It's common.
in those unproductive thought patterns.
We all do it.
Either dwelling on things I can't change
Yeah.
or worrying about things that may never happen.
It's the human condition.
It's a common human experience.
It is.
And it's something the Stoics were very aware of.
They understood the human mind.
That's why they place such a strong emphasis
Look.
on present moment awareness and acceptance.
Being present is key.
This leads me to another Stoic concept that we haven't discussed yet.
All right.
Impermanence.
Ah, yes.
How did they view the concept of impermanence? And how does it relate to anxiety?
That's a great question.
Okay.
Impermanence is a fundamental principle in Stoicism.
Okay.
They believe that everything in life is constantly changing
Okay.
and that nothing lasts forever.
So how does that relate to anxiety?
Well, when you understand that everything is temporary,
Yeah.
it can help you to let go of your attachments
Okay.
to things, outcomes,
Right.
and even your own identities.
Because if we cling too tightly to things that are bound to change,
Yes.
we're setting ourselves up for disappointment and suffering.
Exactly.
Okay.
The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from accepting the impermanence of life
Okay.
and learning to flow with change
Okay.
rather than resisting it.
It's like surrendering to the river of life
Yes.
instead of trying to swim upstream against the current.
That's a beautiful analogy.
It makes sense that resisting the natural flow of change would create a lot of inner turmoil and anxiety.
Resistance creates suffering.
And by accepting impermanence, yes,
You can actually reduce your anxiety
exactly
around loss and change.
You know that nothing lasts forever, so you can appreciate what you have while you have it
Right.
without clinging too tightly.
It's a beautiful perspective,
And it is.
but I imagine it takes practice to fully embrace.
It does.
It's so easy to get caught up in wanting things to stay the same,
It's natural to want things to stay the same.
especially when they feel good.
Of course.
But the Stoics are reminding us that change is inevitable,
It is a fundamental truth.
and resisting it only creates more suffering.
Resistance is futile.
And this ties back to the dichotomy of control.
It does.
You can't control the fact that things change,
Right.
but you can control how you respond to that change.
But that's the key.
It's about focusing on what you can influence.
Yes.
Your attitude, your perspective,
Right.
your actions,
Exactly.
rather than trying to control the uncontrollable.
Focusing on what's within your sphere of influence.
It's a theme that keeps coming up in Stoicism. It's a core principle.
And I'm starting to see how interconnected all of these principles are.
They are all interconnected.
They are.
Stoicism isn't just a collection of random ideas.
Right.
It's a coherent philosophy
Mm-hmm.
with interconnected principles
Okay.
that support and reinforce each other.
It's like a tapestry.
Yes.
Where each thread contributes to the overall beauty and strength of the whole.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And it's through understanding and weaving together these various threads
Right.
that you can begin to create a life
Yes.
of greater resilience, clarity,
Right.
and peace.
That's the goal.
This has been incredibly insightful.
I'm glad you found it helpful.
We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
from gratitude to mindfulness to the acceptance of impermanence.
That's been a journey.
I'm already feeling inspired to incorporate some of these Stoic practices
That's wonderful.
into my own life.
I encourage you to do so.
But before we move on,
Yes.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the importance of self-reflection.
Ah, yes. Self-reflection.
Self-reflection was a cornerstone of Stoic practice.
It was essential.
Because it's not enough to just know about these Stoic principles, right?
Right.
We have to actually put them into practice in our daily lives.
That's where the real work begins.
And self-reflection helps us to do that.
It does.
It allows us to examine our thoughts, actions,
Yes.
and patterns, and to see where we're aligned with our values
Right.
and where we might need to make some adjustments.
It's about course correction.
So it's like holding up a mirror to ourselves
Yes.
and honestly assessing how we're doing.
Being honest with yourself.
It is.
And the Stoics believed
Yeah.
that regular self-reflection was essential
Okay.
for growth and progress.
Did they have specific practices for self-reflection?
They did.
Like one
common practice was to keep a journal.
a journal.
Yes, where they would record their thoughts,
Okay.
experiences, and
Right.
insights.
So it's like having a written conversation with yourself
You could say that.
where you can process your experiences
Yes.
and learn from your mistakes.
It's a powerful tool.
And by regularly reflecting on your life,
Right.
you can become more aware of your patterns,
Uh-huh.
your triggers,
Yes.
and your areas for growth.
It's about self-awareness.
It's like having a personal coach in your back pocket,
I like that analogy.
helping you to stay on track
Right.
and make progress toward your goals.
It's about personal development.
It is.
And the Stoics believed
Yeah.
that this ongoing process of self-reflection
Uh-huh.
was essential for cultivating wisdom
Okay.
and living a life of virtue.
So it's not just about managing anxiety.
Right.
It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly.
And that's what makes Stoicism such a powerful and enduring philosophy.
It is a way of life.
It's not just a set of rules or techniques.
It's about a way of being.
It's a way of life
Yes.
that empowers you to live with purpose. Right.
meaning
Yes.
and peace.
That's the essence of it.
And a big part of that is taking the time to reflect
Yeah.
on your experiences,
Uh-huh.
both the good and the bad,
It's all valuable.
and using those reflections to learn and grow.
Learning and growing is a lifelong process.
It's about being an active participant in your own life,
Exactly.
rather than just letting things happen to you.
It's about taking ownership.
This has been such an enriching conversation.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We've covered so much ground,
We have.
and I feel like I'm already starting to see anxiety in a new light.
That's great to hear.
Not as an enemy to be feared,
Right.
but as a potential teacher and guide.
It can be a valuable teacher.
I'm glad to hear that.
And remember, the Stoic journey is a lifelong process.
Right.
It's about continuously learning,
Uh-huh.
practicing,
Okay.
and refining these principles in your own life.
Though it's ongoing,
It is.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to continue this journey.
It's great.
And I'm sure our listeners are too. I hope so.
But before we wrap things up, I
Yeah.
want to ask you a personal question.
Okay.
What is one piece of Stoic wisdom that you personally find most helpful
That's a question.
in navigating your own anxiety?
For me, it's the dichotomy of control.
That one really resonates with me too.
It's a powerful principle.
It's such a simple concept,
It is.
yet it's so profound.
It's about focusing on what you can control
Right.
and letting go of what you can't.
It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty,
Yes.
you always have a choice in how you respond.
You always have a choice.
You can choose to focus on what you can control.
Exactly.
Your thoughts, your actions,
Right.
your attitudes,
Yes.
and let go of the rest.
It's about finding that inner peace.
It's like finding that center of calm within the storm.
Exactly.
And that's the essence of Stoicism.
it is.
Cultivating that inner strength and resilience.
Right.
to weather life's storms with grace and equanimity.
That's the Stoic ideal.
So as we leave our listener to ponder all this Stoic wisdom,
Yes.
I want to leave them with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Knowing that you can't control everything.
Right.
What is one thing you can control today that will move you closer to a sense of peace and purpose?
It's a question worth reflecting on.
Because even small intentional actions
Yes.
can make a big difference in how we experience life.
Small changes can have a big impact.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time,
Yes.
may you find the strength and serenity
I hope so.
to navigate your own journey with wisdom and grace.
That's my wish for everyone.